What is going on, guys? Today in this video we're going to be talking about aluminum alloy wheels and the difference between cast aluminum and forged aluminum and really what makes them different. So as you know, the wheel's been around for a really long time, since about 3500 BC, and back then it wasn't really used like how we use it today. In fact, it wasn't until about 600 years later that it was used by what we believe as the ancient Greeks as a wheelbarrow to move, heavy loads and other things like that. But even further after that, after that, in the 1930s, steel wheels started getting used for tractors, cars, all types of industry things, and then really the use on cars became even more improved after the finding of aluminum use in wheels. That wasn't until about the 60s. But if you were to look at both of these wheels, there's really, visually, you can't really tell the difference between the two. But when it comes to performance, these wheels differ, greatly. So as it goes for the cast aluminum wheels, these are more of a cost-efficient, easy to make, not as strong material, which is, they're both aluminum, but, we'll get to this more in the video on, how these differ internally. And as it goes for the forged wheels, they're a lot stronger, and with that comes a lot more expense. These run for about, 10,000 to 15,000 a pop for a set, and these go for, your average 2,000 to 6,000. And we'll get to this later in the video on why these really differ in physical properties. But what are these? What are we talking about really? So as goes for the cast aluminum wheels, they start off as any other cast would in a mixer that turns it into molten aluminum. And this is a big important process where one, you can pour it into a mold, but also where a lot of impurities are removed. And it's these impurities that really cause a lot of things like hydrogen embrittlement, or fracturing, or like shorter lifespans. And like I said, hydrogen embrittlement is one big form of I guess you'd say failure for a lot of different metals, including these wheels. But as it goes for this, you can see they pour what is aluminum into this mold, and you can kind of tell that this kind of looks like a a tire or a rim, and this will harden, and they will then machine it, work it how they want to give it that final nice finish. But something that's pretty interesting is they'll take these molds that they make, and they'll pour the cast from the bottom. This is really important for not having bubbles or any other air impurities pop up in the casted finalized product. And it's one of the main faults in why these are so much cheaper to make, and why they're a lot weaker than the forged aluminum wheels. And getting into that, starts off pretty much the same way. It's casted into a billet rather than an actual tire shape, and this billet becomes really easy to work and do a lot of different heat treatments to make it stronger and better for strength in usage. And you can see this is kind of like the finished product they're machining with. It looks like a water jet, but really one of the main things that makes this so much stronger is the heat treatment that goes into making these billets. And these billets, when they're constructed and casted, after they harden and solidify, they are what goes into a process called homogenization, or better known as tempering. And if you can think of it, tempering is really kind of somewhere in between the middle ground of annealing and quenching. That's stuff's really soft, stuff's really hard, and tempering is just kind of like a middle ground for those two. But yeah, that is a little bit about what makes forged aluminum tires so much stronger. But really, to get into the microstructure, you can see that in this casted picture right here, that there is a lot more space in between the grains, and this leads to a lot more possibility of what you call like sites for different molecules and elements to start a void and potentially lessen the lifespan of the tire. And as you can see, the forged ones, there's really tight grain structure, almost like what we know as martensite, and this really helps with the hardness and durability of the metal, and which leads to a lot of more strength overall. And for these reasons and differences, you can see why this quality over here would be a lot more expensive than this quickly, efficiently made casted tire. But yeah, as goes for the wheels as a whole, the overall, I guess you'd say, is casted tires are a lot quicker and easier to make. However, there is a significantly less strength in them than the forged, metalworked, forged tires. But yeah, that is really all I have for the video today. Thank you guys.